Some updates to the Trommel project. Made a few modifications after the initial run. Made a video about it on Sunday, whenever that was. One of the first things was new wheels. It had some caster wheels. Actually, it was these wheels right here. Plastic wheels with some kind of bushing in it. Those right now are just being used to keep it centered, and that's already hot. So I don't know, there's probably a lot of pressure on that. It's going to need to be moved. Should just act as a guide. I think that's applying more pressure than it should. But in order to move this thing with these tires, the whole thing had to be shifted out. So the belting arrangement that was used before was no longer viable. In addition, I chose to run the tires in this groove that these barrels happen to have, this nice groove. You see it better over on this end. This was the top of these barrels. The plastic a little bit heavier, it's a little tougher, so it's rough. It's got a little rough texture to it. It just probably is going to distribute the weight a little bit more effectively. So anyway, what I had to do was move the belt out, and in order to, I was using that groove for the belt, so I ended up using, actually, excuse me, that groove I think was the bottom of these barrels. I used the top of the barrel that had been cut away, and it also kind of had a groove, and it just kind of happened to fit in here, and I used drywall screws to screw it together. And then to retain something of a round shape, I cut out a piece of 3/8 plywood, this really rough circle. And that has a couple of benefits. One, it helps to retain the structure, the shape of this whenever you cinch down with the belt. So it doesn't egg so much, it kind of holds its shape. It's probably better for grip too, for the drive system, so the belt doesn't slip. It also sticks up a little bit, so it kind of helps keep material from falling back out. And with the lip this large, I can use kind of a retaining wheel like this, rather than just using boards on either end to keep it from walking out. Changed the motor, had a Briggs & Stratton, old Briggs & Stratton. It kind of surged a bit. I think it was a little bit smaller than this here. This is a Harbor Freight. This used to be a pump. It had a threaded shaft here, has a threaded shaft, and I had to make an adapter to go to this 5/8 with a key on it. So that's worked out well. It's quieter, seems to be more powerful with the tires and everything. Everything's just spinning more smoothly. I also added more holes. Initially I just had holes in the center. I don't know why I only had them in the center really, but I'm sure I had a good reason at the time. So I doubled the amount of holes by doing a little more than half in the white barrels as well. I also added some more bars on the inside. I had just 2 on the outside, well, 2 in each barrel, and now I have 4 in the outside, 4 in the beginning, 4 in the end, and then there's still just 2 in the middle because I did this by myself and I couldn't reach the ones in the middle. But that seems to work a lot better, keeps things moving. There's not so much surging as it picks up dirt. I couldn't bog this thing down. There was one time that I fed enough material in there that the belt started slipping on the barrel, and I cinched down my eye bolt down there with that chain and the spring to the idler here. So that's great. So I do need to do a little bit of work, probably something different, maybe a bearing or something, bearing wheel, that holds this in place, and some adjustment. This is just kind of temporary, this brace here anyway, until I figure out how the chute's going to go in. So it's very, very promising that I can feed that much material into it all at once. Hopefully I'll be able to utilize the tractor in order to feed it. So yeah, that's the rotary screen, otherwise known as a Trommel. Pretty simple, but it did take some time to build. So thanks for watching.